Hi, welcome to our XRAI weekly news. And team, do you want to share your weekly news?
Yeah, let me start with a milestone, personal milestone. I launched Space Place AR in the iOS store this week. Worked with a team of talented individuals, including Blake Lawton and Paul Salva, to get that pulled together, and we're super excited about it. Getting some early traction. Space Place AR is an app that allows you to scan any room in your house and then place a tag in virtual space and associate a title, text, and an image, or you can take an image in the room and immediately apply it to that tag. The use case that we were kind of working on was like user manuals and instruction guides, but there's a million different uses. So there's a feedback mechanism in there. So I'd love everybody to download that and provide us some feedback on things to add or things to grow in the future. And again, it's Space Place AR, and it's the app in the iOS App Store. Switching to news, the first thing I want to cover is ShapesXR released this week a section of their application really focused on use cases and tools and tips for creating experiences in XR for education. They were able to collate a bunch of learnings. There's just a lot of use cases, and they saw a lot of really great use cases. I think over 180 universities that they've engaged with over kind of creating spaces in XR using SpacePlace. So I've used ShapesXR as a tool, and it's a really great tool. Uh, Not a paid promotion. I've just used it and really enjoyed using it. Great conversations with designers, and had an opportunity to talk to the team over there doing some really interesting things, and I'm excited to see them focus on education as one of the main use cases. I think there's a really good use case there. What other use cases, Dom, have you seen from industries that are best use cases for XR?
Yeah. First, ShapesXR. I remember 2 years ago we host like a virtual hackathon together, which was a tabletop like a competition. I remember, yeah, I work with Inga closely and also their designer Paul Hoover and
Mhm.
also Gabriel. Yeah, so our team works pretty well, and we pretty much help them to promote the entire event. And during that time, I remember super long time ago, I tried once. And 2 years ago, when I tried it, it was totally a different, I would say, yeah, like totally different from the previous early version. And I really enjoyed they put a lot of samples on their gallery. So you can try the possibility. And I think by implement a lot of like education program, it really helps like educators to directly import their thoughts or like their course directly into VR headset. And my question for this, I think all the university, I think it's great. But I would think that if there's more budget, like I mean, we all know that right now a lot of policy was not really settled. For example, like the Department of Education, right? What I'm more want the university to do is to allocate more budget to the headset because for Chips XR, it's really immersive. You can get a lot of immersive experience through the headset, and as far as I know, that a lot of like college, they don't have enough headset for student or teacher. For example, like I'm working on like a turning literature into immersive experience, and I want to see if there's any English teacher want to try it, and they just told me that we love to try it, but we don't have headset. So I think a headset is the most important, and I'm really happy to see a lot of universities seems like they have some budget for their student to have class. They have some headset, and one of the
Yep.
thing for development, I don't know for Unity or like for development or sync up with Meta Store is that you need a phone to pair up with one headset. One headset needs to get Android phone or iPhone. iPhone is more expensive. Yeah, because you need like somehow they have like some connection. You need to download the Horizon app to unlock the developer mode to do
Mhm.
like the link stuff. Yeah, I don't know about like shapes for the entire development towards the maybe they still need I don't know the Unity or not, but I find out this is extremely expensive because we always think, oh, you just get a headset. But if you want to develop, you need a phone to pair up with the headset, especially for school. So it's more than $300. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the budget's a really important thing. Another article that I saw from Eva Jones was a blog post. She was actually providing some tips to schools on ways that you can create a VR lab that's a that's budget friendly.
Mm.
So she talks about, the cost of taking students to site visits to see, real big machinery or, architecture in progress, that those expenses need to be weighed against what you could do in virtual reality. And so there's some opportunities to consume some of those expenses from other things.
Mm.
And it's a really interesting way about creating a small VR lab in your school that
Mm.
you can start to train kids, and another reason, a really compelling reason, I've seen statistics that, people who are trained in VR have a 75% reduction in training costs. So they retain it better.
Oh.
It takes less touch points. And because they're having that tactile experience or that dimensional experience, they retain it more. And so it saves costs. And so I think when you start to look at the budget that's spent for traveling to go, do site visits or bringing in big machinery sometimes to schools so that you can have that same experience, a simulation or a VR experience is a much more cost-effective way. So I think maybe changing the way that we have the conversation about that would make it open for more colleges and more students.
Yeah, I totally agree because I think right now it's the same thing. For example, like for the app, if you do for more education sector, you need to think about how can student access. And right now, I heard of a term that is called iPad kids. Every kids has a tablet or iPad, so a lot of their learning is on their iPad, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. So maybe instead of headset changing to iPad, maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. So sometimes for XR people, we just our brain like a default is, oh, you need to wear a headset no matter it is glass or the VR headset. But I think maybe we can think another way. Maybe it can be more like, I don't know, OpenXR or WebXR, so it can be more open for different device instead of just a headset. Yeah.
Yeah, I think accessibility, and when I say accessibility, not like I mean, I think accessibility is important in general, but when I'm talking about this, I make it more approachable so more people can access it.
Hmm.
I agree. I don't know that everybody is ready to put on a headset like you and I do all the time. But I think there are some interesting tools out there that really help people design in 3D. And
Hmm.
it takes a different kind of mental space between the 2D design and the 3D design.
Hmm.
Spline is a really great tool
Hmm.
to create some 3D experiences and kind of get a feel for what that feels like. Bezier is also another tool that I've used where you kind of design in 3D, and then it's also to your kind of the open XR concept, you can send it to a bunch of different venues or mediums. Um, Anything else to say on that before I move to the next one?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's move to the next one. I think ShapesXR is slowly growing, and I really congratulate the team and Inga, and I hope everything's successful. Looking forward
Agreed.
to how big they can grow.
Yep, I think they're going to be a valuable asset going forward. Yeah, kudos to them and congratulations. The next one I want to talk about is the rise of night vision in AR, XR, and AI. And this is an article by Dan Cui. And the thing that's really interesting about this is there are only so many human capabilities. Like we talk a lot about XR being kind of a vision first and spatial medium, but there are only so much in human capabilities, such as we can only see with our naked eyes a certain amount of the electromagnetic spectrum. But there are cameras and tools that will allow us to see beyond what our human eyes can do. And so night vision is a really good example. The article that he uses is a safety. He's got a really great safety use case. I've got some friends who work in the electric industry and who are linemen, and sometimes they get calls out at night and they have to go work in the dark in the night. And having something like night vision, kind of helps you see where you're going and what you need to do. And you can also get infrared or thermal readings. So another layer of data that can be on top of that. So you can see where the hot spots are, where the dangers are, where the problem is that you need to fix. And I think that that's is a use case that doesn't get enough traction with the XR population in general, or XR community in general, is new data sources and things that are beyond human capabilities. I think those are really interesting spaces for people to work. And I think night vision and infrared, and kind of the heat reading as well is an interesting space to be playing right now. So I applaud those companies that are doing that work. Any thoughts on other use cases or types of data that we might want to integrate, Dom?
Yeah, I think for those like infrared night vision is I would say it's very good, and especially for example like utilized in military, right? I think in military there are a lot of things changes. Later on, I will share one news. It's about Ukraine's war. We always saw the news, but what's the reality in the war from frontier? It's pretty much according to what one of the Russian surrender soldier said, a quote on the news that I'm going to say, talk about, is that when in the battlefield, you won't see any Ukrainian soldier. It's all drones. So
Oh,
they
wow.
use drones to detect through, for example, text. Sometimes soldiers will text each other and they will trying to find the message and find the soldiers, the enemy soldiers, and they can use sound. They can hear and using AI to know detect where the enemy is, and also they can use vision. So Ukraine's war becomes drone and AI and autonomy of AI to attack the enemy. So for me, I don't know. The future war probably becomes robots fight robots. Yeah,
Sure.
without human, a manned machine. Yeah, so I think those types of for example, you mentioned infrared. It can also be, for example, like an infrared camera attached to drone, and the person wear headset. Maybe sometimes a man will be a little bit dangerous because you will do too fast, and the damage cannot be, command Z, right? Cannot
Yeah.
be cannot go back. So maybe human can sit on the headquarter and control the drone. If, for example, if you want to drop a nuclear bomb, maybe that needs a human involved instead of automatically drop something very yeah, like a disaster. So
Yeah.
yeah.
On a little lighter note, I think there's a ton of interesting use cases for night vision that aren't used today, right? Like, so if you think about game, like there could be a game where
Mm.
you play, and you're trying to find people, and but you would play in the dark where you normally wouldn't play, like in the woods or something like that. I'm not advocating for anybody to wear their headset yet in the dark. We're not quite there yet, but things like that, like golf.
Mm.
Today you can only play golf during the day, but what if you could play at night? Wow, that would open up for a golf course a whole ton of revenue of, people who could play at night who wouldn't normally get to play. So I think those things are kind of interesting. And then just layering that data on, I think there's a lot of really use cases where vision is obscured. where human vision is obscured, like firefighters where the room's full of smoke.
Oh,
What can
yeah.
we do with some of these sensors and these other layered camera visions to increase the safety and save lives even? So pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah, I remember in Google, Google AI has like a, I don't know, like they deploy some AI data camera, computer vision on the low orbit satellite. So they can detect like a super small fire from that low orbit
Mhm.
satellite, and then they will sync with the kind of like a sending out the information to the nearby fire like a department and let them to control it right before it became a disaster. So I think this types of computer vision AI combination to detect the disaster, I think those will be amazing. Especially you said that infrared. I believe those types of skills can be implement into the camera. So during the night, it can also use these types of skills to detect the fire. Yeah.
Yep. Yep, a lot of awesome use cases. The next thing I want to talk about is a new release by Meta, and this was covered by Robert Corvello. And he talks about the new motif that got released, and it uses a depth API. So when you think about the building blocks and the ability to build stuff for the Meta platform, their tooling is pretty interesting, that they're building the tools to help people build content for their platform. And this depth API allows interesting things like uh, occlusions, so multi-layer occlusions, so that when you play a game, you really get the full effect of something hiding behind your couch or hiding behind that
Um,
building. For people who are familiar with XR, kind of occlusion is one of those things that can break the illusion. And it when something walks in front of it a way that it's not supposed to, or something that's supposed to be behind something shows, it can break the illusion and dramatically reduce the impact of the overall effect. So I think that focused on that type of thing really helps bring people into the experiences, and it also makes mixed reality experiences much more easy and much more accurate. So I think the new Depth API will provide a lot of uses for people as they go build more mixed reality experiences as well.
Yeah, I think a mixed reality right now it becomes better and better. A long time ago, I remember the first time that I access to the like the occlusion was from a GitHub kind of file called Beyond something called like I don't know the world beyond. Yeah, and then you have to download like the GitHub Unity file, and you wear it. There was a little like a mouse like a character, and you
Yep.
have to play it, and it will be inside your room, and you can see the wall got cracked. And you can see that little thing, and you can it will go under your bed, and that it wasn't really execute really well. But I think right now when I saw the current samples, I can see it's getting better and better, which means that the immersion will get better and better. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to try more like a cushion or like the some new building blocks.
Yep, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to find a game. Drop Dead the Cabin is a zombie game on the Quest 3, which I really enjoy, and it does some of this depth and occlusion stuff really interesting. I play it in my basement, and it lets you put windows up and doors up to the outside world, so it makes it feel like you're kind of in a cabin. But then you can see out, so it extends the gameplay area very significantly. So wanted to give a shout out to the Drop Dead the Cabin game because I think it's pretty fun. Uh,
Mm.
okay, last thing that I want to cover is the future of manufacturing training using XR. I think there's the manufacturing space is another underappreciated area for XR. I think there's a lot of really interesting use cases, and this talks about how you can really get people up to speed quickly. So as I talked earlier about reducing training costs. The time to proficiency is greatly reduced when you use XR for training. It also makes it more accessible for a lot of different people. Again, at home training, you can do at home training, kind of like what we talked about for the school kids, not having to go to the facility or not have to have a large piece of machinery available. All of that stuff is available via XR. It also, there's a little bit of equality, I'll call it, or it closes the digital divide because, for a few $100s, everybody can kind of get that same level of education, whereas you might not have had access to those things before. So I think there's going to be a huge push in training in general, but I think manufacturing is a really interesting space to start looking at training with XR and start to reap those benefits today.
Wow. Yeah, I think XR really helps like a training, education. Those two parts, especially training in a dangerous place, such as, for example, military, nuclear, or like a firefighters, all those like if you get training in person, it will probably damage the environment or harm your body. But I
Yep.
think for XR, those like virtual training really helps the learner to gain the knowledge without getting hurt.
Yep.
So yeah, so I think XR XR is slowly becomes, I would say, beyond agentic AI. If the user needs visual assisting, I think XR will be the visual side. For example, we are right now using computer. It's 2D. Yeah, and if let's say if the user loves to see us face, then that will be XR, right? There will be 3D representation. But a lot of things might be, underlying. Maybe AI can do things. So, for example, we just put our personality inside an AI chatbot and put our news in, and later on it will generate a podcast. That's is I think is already become
Yeah.
truth. And what's the point of having a podcast? I don't know. Yeah, you can definitely do that, and it will mimic the way that we talk according to the previous data, and
Yeah.
it will generate. I don't know. Some people was testing like a couple of episodes and asked they use one of it using AI generate and ask the audience which one you think
Which one is
is.
which? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we can try that. I don't know. But as far as I know, there were some softwares that can automatically generate an interesting Q&A or conversational podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Google Notebook will allow you to pull different sources together, and it will create an audio podcast of all of the information. It's just an interesting way to consume it.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, this is like the world is getting crazier and crazier and more like a sci-fi. We're entering to the sci-fi world.
I think that's all the XR news today. What do you have from the AI space?
Oh, cool. So what I wanna share is one of it, like a very provocative, and I think I wanna share. It's on the Guardian.com, and the title is called AI Wingman Bots to Write Profiles and Flirts on Dating Apps. So in the future, and it says it serves for people who has social awkward, like for example, some guys they don't know how to talk to the girls, so
Mhm.
the AI bot will help them to um, compile the profile and also flirt with the girl. But my point is that if they meet in person,
Yeah.
and the girl find out that guy wasn't that chatbot because that girl was drawn to the chatbot instead of that real person. It might seem very awkward. And the next level will be later on, it will be the guy's chatbot flirt with the girl's chatbot. And at the end, they meet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. My chatbot report that this person is the person I need to meet. but they were totally different people from the chatbot. What do
They got
you
AI
say?
catfished.
Yeah, right. And then I also wanna share another news. It's called Manus. Manus, if you see like on LinkedIn feed, it's all over the place. It's a Chinese new agentic AI that I think I remember up to they can simultaneously handle 50 different types of tasks.
Oh
So
wow.
you can go to sleep and you just type like all the tasks you want to finish. And when you wake up, it's done. Wow, this is I don't know. When I saw the computer screen and like a 50 apps and keep doing it. So I think those can be done by social media, right? You can put your agentic AI and post things that according to your personality and generate your content. So I don't know. I feel like this world is will be filled out with a lot of AI generate, um, I don't know, content. And do you feel that it's delightful to consume all the bombard like you just and I saw the website and the CEO said that he will make a lot of many API or the model um, to become the open source, which
Yep.
means that everybody can start create their own AI agent. Yeah, my thought is that yeah, in the future, and I saw their first kind of samples. Pretty much, for example, if you are a recruiter and you want to recruit a person, and we all know there are millions or thousands of resumes you need to filter out. So you
Yep.
can pretty much just upload all the resume and say what and copy and paste the job description, and you will filter out the top resume. So think of that for a human, we will see like, oh, this resume, oh, this is interesting. I didn't think of this part. And maybe you will you will bring that person to the team, right? For example, like you want to get a person to do some Unity stuff, but that person probably doesn't have Unity stuff, but there are some relative stuff. For a human, for the recruiter, maybe you can see the potential, right? But AI will just like, oh, if you didn't put some certain keywords, they just filter out. So I don't know, like later on, human will have to work closer with the AI agent and that AI agent to represent you to fight, to flirt, to get a job for you. So it's all AI talk to each other and decide whether you can move forward over something. Yeah.
Yeah, to tie both of those things together, I think we're not too far from the world where somebody's AI and somebody else's AI flirt. They have a whole relationship. So it models out the entire relationship of is this going to work or not? And then they figure out, no, we would get a divorce. So it moves to the next one until it finds one, just through the modeling the entire relationship. Would it work or not? I think we're not too far away from there, which is a little scary. But I think the point that you made in both of these previous news articles, at some point there's human to human contact. And that's where it breaks down if you've been relying on AI the entire time. AI is a tool, not a replacement. And I think people need to use it in that way a lot of times.
Yeah, and I do think that in the future, everything will be designed, and I start feeling that something that authentic or a human touch will be very precious, right? It's like things start being designed perfectly or a certain way. So I don't know. And today I saw you see like Doge just lay off like I don't know. The number was pretty shocking. Like almost a lot of like a federal agent or contractor will
Yep.
get let go. So my thought is that are those will be replaced by AI, and imagine that AI, because for example IRS. Sometimes you just want to talk to a human, and I remember one time I want to talk to a human and talk about some some stuff that I forgot to pay a long time ago, but I keep tracking to pay in the future.
Sure.
And the agent just told me that the human told me that, oh, I think according to your gray record, we decided to, cancel this like a request because I have to do tons of paperwork in order
Sure.
to pay that thing because I
Yeah.
cancel a lot of things. So it's like the thing that cost me a huge amount of time and do the paperwork. And the human just, say, oh, you have a great record and we knew that you are not on purposely to do this. You just forgot. So there's some human things in between the human conversation. However, imagine AI deal with that. It
Yep.
receives the exact command and it just feels that, for example, like I imagine because every time when I call bank, it's all chatbot. And
Hmm.
I think if somebody can have invent a chatbot, talk to the bank chatbot, and put a comment, get a human for me, that would be great. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, for example, one time for some reason I couldn't add it on my website. I couldn't add in my address, something like that. So my card is not sending to the right place, and it's just
Hmm.
very complicated. So I wanna change my personal profile. It just blocked. Yeah, and I need a human to change it for me. And it keep looping back to say, oh, you just go online and change your profile. And I just told the AI chatbot, I just cannot do it. It's grayed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just keep looping. So I
Didn't
need
know
to,
didn't know what you meant.
and I say one keyword. I say, oh, I lost my credit card. And it directly connect me to the human. And I
Yeah.
said, actually, it's not lose. I didn't lose my credit card.
Yeah.
But
I was tricking you.
in order to talk to you, I need to say this to trigger
Yeah.
humans.
Well, I think there's a whole industry around counteracting AI, right? Like I've
Yeah.
seen the shirts. Have you seen the shirts with the people who it kind of looks like a face on the shirt, but it's really abstracted, and then the AI doesn't know if this is their face or this is their face, so
Oh,
it collect their information.
very interesting. It is just like for me, I think the future of the world will be AI decide, AI do everything, and human just sit on the back and being picked, or being more like a passive. You
Yeah.
have some ideas, but AI will do everything for you. I don't know whether this is good or bad, but it just makes me feel like wow, we will start losing the capability of doing a lot of things. Yeah.
Maybe. I think there'll always be human work. And then I think, you made a really good point about what humans can do, the human touch being a really precious thing in the future. Like if you think I could go get food now that is a TV dinner, a frozen TV dinner, and put that in the microwave, and 30 seconds later, a minute and a half later, I have food, maybe food. I don't know, a lot of chemicals probably, but or I can go to a restaurant where there's a chef who's been trained to, you know, make the most wonderful meal. Those experiences are extremely different. The same outcome as me getting food, but it's not serving the same job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and speak of food, I remember like right now in China, few months ago, I heard that a lot of restaurants they change their style because you see like the price is getting higher and higher. People doesn't want to go to a restaurant. Instead, a lot of very famous restaurant they package their meals. For example, oh, I want a dim sum. I want to eat like a ramen in a
Hmm.
certain of restaurant, and they start making like a package, yeah, so frozen packaged food, but the ingredients was from that
Yeah,
specific unique one in China. So
interesting.
they said that right now a lot of like a restaurant they start mass production. So people, for example, like I want to eat some buffalo wings, or some other like a restaurant or Panda Express, right? You just go to Costco or you order online, It's even no human contact, and
Yep.
you just put in the microwave, and you can eat the meal, and you can save a lot of money because you just purely purchase the food fee and
Yeah.
shipping fee. Yeah. So, yeah, and a lot of restaurants they start using like a robot to serve. Yeah, and pretty soon I don't know, it's just like a very interesting world that humans like working was getting less and less, and those the power of human need to shift to some certain area. I i remember last time I introduced like a Replit, right? Replit CEO mentioned, because I think the in the podcast the host asked the Replit CEO, what should human do? He said either you are a generalist that knows you come up with idea and ask AI to come up with a solution for you, or
Yep.
you be a very specialist working on something like uh, close to metal, for example, like a rocket, or like NASA launched their rocket. They use like some certain of types of coding, but every coding or like the AI system will be totally different from large language model that we usually use for our commercial product. But those specific area close to the metal, and you can be the specialist to write those AI. Otherwise, you can be generalist, find who needs something, and then use your thought to type. So, according to what I see the news recently, it seems like a product manager who has the vision,
Hmm.
who knows how to write, who, yeah, and you can definitely, use those types of tools, AI tools, to just build the product on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's I can see a world because we have control. The people have control, right? So we're choosing to use automated labor or robots where it makes sense. I think there will be people in the future who won't buy from a company who uses robotic labor, right? Like because they will think that that's a negative thing. I think we're really in an interesting spot from a social and technology, era of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, if you see that, I remember I saw one Chinese news. It seems like they've already replaced or like deploy uh, a lot of like AI government workers, and in kind of like a province. And I saw like a line of AI robots ready to work on
Yeah,
some paperwork, and maybe post office, right? Some places that human. Yeah, and the good thing about robot is that you don't need to pay them salary. You just buy them, right?
yeah,
And buy them, I think if you buy them, it's like probably like 30K to 60K, just, and it's probably like somebody's like less than somebody's yearly salary, right?
yep,
And you just buy one, and you won't argue with you. It won't like you don't have to pay them anymore, and you don't doesn't have to eat. It doesn't need a health insurance. Yeah, probably maintenance. So yeah, and I don't know, it's very interesting. And you see like all the big companies, they all have their AI robot, like a start manufacture. So wow, so if you see like a Doge already lay off a lot of people, a lot of things can be done through AI. It will be agentic AI, right? And then later on, maybe robot will start
sure.
taking over the government job.
Yeah, it's we're definitely in a time of change right now.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So yeah, and the other news is that Instacart steps up AI deployments. So for example, like I remember first time I used Instacart was during COVID, because I was so scared of going out. So I used Instacart, and I just, every time I have to open the app and click what I want to buy for in a certain local store, and then
Yep.
there will be a person, and if I saw the profile is good, I just like connect with that person and start testing. Oh, for the tomato, they didn't have tomato. Can I buy another things? But right now they deploy using AI. So, for example, like you don't really. It's like they just know what you like according to your history. So you can just say, "Oh, buy me like a grocery," and it will automatically add to cart, and you just prove or you just delete. Because I think it's really good to have those types of AI deploy a system, so you don't have to compare too much. For example, like, oh, find me, or like, oh, I want the best Asian chips, right? Or
Yep.
something, and you don't have to go to each store and look at something, and you can directly deploy and add to the checkout. So I think those types of AI powered grocery shop will be, yeah, yeah, immense. Yeah.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT to do my weekly meal plans. So I did I pulled all of the recipes that my family likes,
Mm.
put them in a database, uploaded that to ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and then weekly it generates me a list, like a food list. I told it I don't want it to repeat every two. I don't want to have anything the same thing for 2 weeks.
Oh. Mm.
And so it generates that, and then it generates a grocery list. I have not gotten to the Instacart piece yet because that to upgrade to the Pro, but I'm really close to, because I think it will save me enough money to offset that cost to having it just automatically deliver the groceries to me.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I saw a lot of like even school teachers in China. I would say right now, if you see all the top-notch agentic AI and AI model and all the all the AI robot, the most advanced one is all from China.
Yeah.
And China's, the teacher from China, right now I saw there was a teacher because for a lot of like platform like a Replit, you can just type and create your own app. Let's say, for example, you want your family, the meal list and
Hmm.
very healthy and every day is different. You can create an app and directly put everything you are looking for, and it will generate an app for you, customized just for you.
Yep.
It's not for sale, it's just for personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a teacher who used that types of like use DeepSeek. DeepSeek, I know in here is kind of controversial, but in China it's pretty much over the place.
Ubiquitous.
So yeah, so the teacher just used DeepSeek to create, like for example, she wanna have like a randomly pick a student to answer the question, or randomly pick a quiz of a certain lesson,
Hmm.
and she just like deploy everything and make a random like just draw, or like hey, let's just click this and see who will show up. And a lot of apps, because I haven't seen these types of apps that you can directly import your own class, very customized, and put your student's name there. So sometimes when she said that, oh, today we have 5 lessons, that's today's quiz. That's just starting, press the button and see which one we are going to do the, in class quiz. And
Hmm.
she just click one button and it just start like a, rotate. And then finally one shows up and student will be like, wow, this is amazing. And a lot of, like I would say quiz, the question will show up on the board or on students' iPad, and they just
Sure.
start doing things. So I think the teachers can definitely use that to um, be efficient, yeah, and be fair.
Yeah, I think it's there are a ton of use cases. Anything that you do repetitively, that doesn't take a lot of brain power, it just takes effort. I think those are tasks that are really ripe to be automated.
But think of that. What types of tasks is purely brain power? And even brain power brainstorm, I can tell you that AI can do really well.
Pretty
So,
good. Yeah.
so I think probably find a product market fit probably
Yep.
might be another way for human to be a to function. 'Cause right now, I can see a lot of things that AI can do. But for example, like right now, game development, even though I saw there are a lot of like a generative AI, all the models after generate, it just looks really bad. So yeah, it still cannot compete with human, right? Because I did like I put like a lot of like a house image and let them to generate 3D. The mesh was not good and also the texture was wrong. So
Yeah.
I think there are still a lot of things that human, I think human right now, the skills was not building up from scratch, was probably take over from AI and revise or work with AI and see how how those like two work really well together and
Yeah.
come up with the product fast.
Interesting. Yep. A lot of changes.
Cool. Anything you wanna mention for this week?
No, I think that's good. I think I got Space Place AR in one more time. Everybody go download that. We're super excited and expect it to be growing quite a bit in the next 6 months.
Can you drop the link to the maybe the doc or somewhere,
I will.
or drop on the on the chat so I
Yep.
can I can for this episode I can put on the link so people who wanna try it and feel free to reach out to team if you have any feedback or future collaboration. Yeah, feel free to reach out to team.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
cool.